The internet is a wild place. It's full of cat videos, conspiracy theories, and enough information to melt your brain. But it's also a battleground for one of the biggest issues of our time: intellectual property. Who owns what in the digital age? That's a question that courts are still figuring out. And one of the biggest fights was between Google, the king of search, and Viacom, a media giant. This isn't just a boring legal story. It affects everyone who uses the internet. We're talking about movies, music, TV shows, all the stuff we love to stream, share, and sometimes, let's be honest, pirate. Viacom claimed Google was letting people get away with copyright infringement on a massive scale. They were talking about YouTube, which Google owns. YouTube was and still is a haven for user-uploaded content. Back in the early 2000s, YouTube was like the Wild West. People were uploading everything and anything. Copyright? Nobody seemed to care. Viacom sued Google in 2007. They wanted billions of dollars in damages. They said YouTube was making money from copyrighted material. This wasn't just about a few episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants ending up online. This was about the future of how we consume and share entertainment. The case dragged on for years. It went all the way to a federal court in New York. Google argued they weren't responsible for what users uploaded. They said they took down infringing content when they were told about it. This is where things get really interesting. It all comes down to a law you've probably heard of, the DMCA. The DMCA is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It was passed in 1998. Remember 1998? The internet was basically still using dial-up. The DMCA was supposed to update copyright law for the digital age. Part of the DMCA is something called safe harbor. It basically says that websites aren't liable for copyright infringement by their users. But there's a catch. There's always a catch. To get safe harbor protection, websites have to meet certain conditions. One of those is taking down infringing content when they're notified. So Google said they were following the rules. Viacom said Google wasn't doing enough. They argued that Google knew about the infringing content. They claimed Google was profiting from it. This was a huge deal for Google. If they lost, it could change the internet as we know it. In 2010, a judge ruled in favor of Google. He said Google was protected by the DMCA's safe harbor provisions. This was a big win for Google and other websites, but the fight wasn't over. Viacom appealed the ruling. The case went back and forth in the courts for years. Finally, in 2014, the two sides reached a settlement. The terms were never made public. But this case was about more than just Google and Viacom. It was about the future of copyright in the digital age, and that fight is still going on today. The Google versus Viacom case showed us just how complicated copyright law is in the internet age. It's a mess, but it's a mess we need to figure out because the internet is here to stay, and so is the fight over who owns what.
In the digital realm, one action changes everything. Power up your feed. Like and subscribe now.